from Waukegan. Lucy, Dick Tracy, Bob Barker, George Burns and Gracie Allen, right? Ozzie and Harriet. I mean, I can go on and on. Hazel, Lucy, Lassie. You know, if these names trigger nostalgia for you, then you definitely lived during the golden age of television. Well, to the young ones here, I'm talking about a time when cable, DVRs, and handheld remotes were not even around yet. You literally had to change the channel by turning the knob on the set. Yeah, right? Who remember this, the days of the early days of television? And they weren't, the kids, the young ones here who are listening to this are probably in this disbelief. There weren't many channels either to choose from. I remember the days when there were, it was 2, 5, 7, 9, 11, 32, maybe 1 or 2 more channels, and that's it. That's it. Oh, and as for color, yeah, there were 2 colors. Black and white. Yeah, perhaps it wasn't until like the late 60s or the early 70s that your family finally purchased that colored unit. And I'm willing to bet, all right? I'm willing to bet that the one thing all of us did during the dinosaur age of television was fuzz with that darn antenna.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
AKA rabbit ears, we call them rabbit ears.
Yes.
By golly, you did everything and anything to gain or regain that reception. Now, my family even resorted to wrapping the antenna with aluminum foil. Did any of you guys do that? I don't know why. I guess supposedly it worked. But yeah, I remember, I don't know who suggested it in my family, but we wrapped the antenna, the rabbit ears, with aluminum foil. Our attempt to pick up proper frequency often meant ordering our siblings or someone in our family to literally stand next to the set, directing them to position the ears just right. And oh, how I recall those frustrating moments. There was a lot of yelling back and forth. No, a little to the left, no, Yeah, there was a lot of that, but also it brought incredible bliss once you picked up signal. I'm so glad we no longer live in the era of rabbit ears to get a good connection. Our current and yet rapidly changing technology makes instant connection possible and convenient. Being connected is paramount to us human beings. It's why many of us struggled during the pandemic when human contact was restricted. Oh boy, we all remember that year and a half or so. Terrible. Well, fortunately, technology provided a way to maintain some level of communication back then, albeit virtually. We are, after all, social beings, wired for connection. We're created for relationships. In other words, we are driven by deep motivations to stay connected with friends and family and colleagues. Not only that, humans are predisposed, we are hardwired to seek connection with a supreme being, with God, who somehow taps into our God gene. Today's passage from John is all about connection, a sacred connection between us and Jesus. Jesus is so gracious that he makes use of beautiful metaphors to tell us in many ways how important it is that we remain united with him. Now, last Sunday, we heard him tell us, I am the good shepherd. He also told us, I am the light of the world. That's from John 8. I am the bread of life. I am the resurrection and the life. And the fifth one we heard today, I am the true vine. Those hearing him then would have known exactly what he was talking about, since winemaking was an essential part of the culture in which he lived, in which they lived, all lived, Jesus and people in his days. So it's not an easy image to forget. But since we're not first century farmers, nor are we vineyard owners, nor were we raised in the context with the ancient stories of Judaism, our familiarity with vines and grapes is limited to pictures or television, or the readily available store-bought bottle of wine. To understand the true vine metaphor, it's helpful to know that a grapevine has a main vine, okay? A main vine. A grapevine, it's an organic structure, nurtured by the rain and the sun. It is fed by the sap that flows through the stem and the branches and grows and produces fruit. Well, likewise, Jesus, as the true vine, draws life from the Father and communicates that life to us who remain united with Him. We are the branches of this vine because we are the community of Jesus' followers who are intimately connected to Jesus and are commanded to love one another. And guess what? The result, or the consequence of forging the strong and authentic and faithful relationship, this connection with Jesus, the result is the bearing of fruit, good fruit. When we bear fruit, that is evidence that we are on the right path, that we are remaining in the vine. It's evidence that we are getting some things right. Without this fruit, our faith is dead. It is. And we should never kid ourselves into believing that we can be faithful without doing faithful things for others and for the world. Just as the body without the Spirit is dead, so also faith without works is dead. So yes, even if we are church-going believers, our faith can easily succumb to atrophy, that is, wasting away or loss or decline. And we become orthodox corpses unless our faith is demonstrated or put to work. Sure, you may have a regimented spiritual or devotional life, and that's great, yet you could still be spiritually sick. In other words, you may be great at attending Mass or praying the Rosary regularly, and those are good things, of course. But then, outside of that, you spread hate, lies, or gossip to smear someone's reputation, or you refuse to forgive others, or you hold on to anger, bitterness, and resentment, or you envy others for their blessings, or you seek revenge to satisfy your ego, or you don't bother to lift a finger to help the least among us. See, that is not bearing fruit. Bearing fruit begins with a character change, a genuine conversion of our actions, our thoughts, and our words. Fruit comes from an inward change, that manifests itself through the life we lead, a gospel life, to be in particular, and the work that we do for the Lord. Evidently, we know that we are bearing good fruit when everything we do, in word and deed, is defined by love, peace, joy, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control, and gentleness. Such words could be likened to grapes heavy with juicy sweetness. So it is with us. With the Father's care and tending, we flourish. But we mustn't let God do all the work. To maintain our sacred relationship, that strong connection to the true vine, that requires something from us. It requires our attention, our effort, our humility, and our deep desire to want our relationship with Jesus to be more than it was yesterday, to be more than it was 20 minutes ago. If you've been sitting in front of the TV for too long, well, consider getting off the couch and doing whatever it takes to get the clear signal from above. That's the voice of God calling us to be more, and really showing us how to be more.
Thank you for joining us today. Digital ministry provides a valuable service to parishioners and visitors alike. One, that we can share God's Word, celebrate the Eucharist, and other important words and events with those who may not be able to be with us in person. If you'd like to support this effort, please go to olphglenview.org, click on the gold donate button, and then the Sunday giving icon to make a contribution on our secure online giving portal. We sincerely appreciate your ongoing support. Thank you for helping us continue this ministry.